Hi everybody, welcome back. It is Brad again, bradnewton.tv. We're going to get straight into this and we're going to start our very first project together in Adobe Premiere Pro CC. Now I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2019. If you're using a previous version, that's completely okay. The layout's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be pretty much the same stuff. So let's do this. How exciting. We're going to load up the software first and then we're going to do this together. And by the end of this little lecture, you'll have very good familiarity with the basics of the layout of the workspace of the software. So then we're going to go straight into an actual project and we're going to work with a real project because it's not very fun looking at a blank canvas. So, all right, so you'll see this screen when your software first loads up. And if your layout doesn't look like this, don't despair. It's pretty much the same in previous versions to this, just the layout's a little different. So you'll see here a list of recent projects that you would have worked on. So in my case, I've worked on a bunch of recent projects. This is really, really cool. It's like a shortcut kind of a window where you can select the most recent project. It just makes it a lot easier to find projects that you worked on. For example, I'm working on part 5 of my USA travel series. I just click on that and it just takes me straight to the project. It's super easy. It just saves me having to go open project and then, try and find it that way. But in this case, we're together going to go new project. We're going to click on that and this amazing box is going to pop up and we're going to put in a name for our project. So we're going to call it, I don't know, Brad's Travel Videos. Okay, so we're going to give our project a name and then we're going to give it a location. So we're going to go, so select folder, and so that's where our project is going to be stored. Now if we move further down, we've got general, scratch disks, and ingest settings. 3 tabs. Now we're just starting out, an absolute beginner. We don't really care too much about scratch disks and going through all of this and whatever, ingest settings. We'll talk about that later. Just leave these 2 tabs alone. Just stay on general. And if you move further down, we've got video rendering and playback. And you'll see here we've got renderer. So we can actually select what renderer engine we're going to use. So in my case, I've got 3 options. In your case, you might only have software. All right, you might only have 1 option. And that's okay, because you only can work with what you have. So software is the option that some people have, and that's it, fine. But if you have the option to select GPU acceleration, then definitely select GPU acceleration. And the reason being is because, and real quick, it's because, it's just gonna make you working with projects faster. It's gonna make rendering faster because you're utilizing the performance capabilities of your graphics card. Whereas if you're using software only, then things are going to be a little bit slower. So if you can, select GPU acceleration. We move further down, we've got 3 options here: timecode, audio samples, and DV. Now by default, these are selected. Timecode, just leave these as they are. Timecode, audio samples, and then remain on DV, and then click OK. And then we're going to move into the workspaces. I'm going to spend like a couple of minutes talking about the workspaces and then we're going to go into a real project, because I remember, when I first loaded up the software years ago, I was like, what do I do? This is confusing. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Just very, very basically, first and foremost, if your layout doesn't look like what you're seeing right now on your screen, then go up here, go to Window, Workspaces, and click on Editing. And when you click on editing, it's going to restore your layout to the editing format that Adobe has stored. So in my case, this is what we have. We have 4 major boxes, and we'll talk about what those boxes are. But then what happens is when you start moving things around, for example, just say, for example, we move this window over here and this window over there. And then we're like, what do we, this is confusing. What have I done? Then you go Window, Workspaces, and then you go to where it says Reset to Save Layout. And then it takes you back to where you started. Okay. So what are these windows? Very quickly. So we've got 4 major windows. And when you click on them, a little blue box appears around each window. It just tells you that that's the current window that you're working in. So if you click down here, blue box, down here, blue box, and you can adjust these windows by just moving your cursor in between the two boxes. If you want to make one box wider or narrower, you can do that. You can do this, right? This will make much more sense to you with a real project, right? Just like that. Now, on the top left-hand corner, we've got our big first major window, which is the source monitor box. Now it says up here source, right? Source monitor box here. We got our program window here. It says program up here. Down the bottom left, we've got our project window here. This is where we're going to be importing our videos, our photos, our music, and all that kind of stuff, our GoPro footage and drone footage and all that kind of amazing stuff is all going to go down in here. So if we double click on this, it's going to bring up this little window and we can just import what we want. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to import, I don't know, this one. So I click on that. We'll talk about importing files later in more detail, but this is pretty much it. So then we've got like, you know, our little video clip here. And if I double click on this, then it's going to show up in the source monitor box. So then I can just scrub this along just like that. And I can literally just see what's going on here in this clip, right? Now, we've got our timeline window over here, just in here. Now, what I can do is I can drag this clip into the timeline window and it's going to create a nice little timeline for us. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, this, okay, so this does this, and this does that, and this one does this, and then you got the pen tool, and then the type tool, and then you've got this. I mean, I'm not going to bore you like that. We're going to go to a real project, and we're going to talk about this in a practical sense. But real quick, just to recap, we've got our timeline window, program window, our source monitor box, and our project here. And then, before I close off this, you can actually, if you have a look at these windows here, for example, top left-hand corner, we've got our source monitor box. We've got these tabs here, and we can actually click on these tabs and bring up other options. So we have our audio clip mixer here and, you know, whatever. So, and we can click on them and change them. Go back to source, okay? Or we can shift the order like that, okay? And over time, you'll play around with it and you'll have your own preferences and whatever else. But you can, if you move down here, you can do the same thing. So you can go media browser, libraries, info, blah, 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 right? If you click on the two little arrows, and you'll have the same options here as well. Click on the original project window, boom, like that. Okay, so one other thing I want to show you, this happens to a lot of people when they first start out. This happened to me when I first started out, and it took me a long time to figure out how to undo the damage. You can actually move these windows around. Now, obviously we can resize them. We've talked about that, pretty straightforward. You want to make things bigger, smaller. You want to make it so you have a very big area to work in, because this is the area that you're going to be working on your video right in here. You want to make it as big as possible and have a very small monitor, program monitor screen, or you want to make it super big because you want to see all the details, just like that. Or what you can do is you can actually move these boxes around, move these windows around. So if you click on, for example, the project window here, you can click on that and drag it and somewhere else. So see where it's shaded? Well, that's where you can move it to. So if we go, oh, like I want to drop it here, this is what happens. So now our project window is moved up here, right? And then if we're like, yeah, well, I want the effects controls to be down here. All right, you're like, oh, that's really messed up. And if you go, oh, I want the audio clip mixer to be down here. And I want the, I don't know, I want the audio monitor box, I don't know. So just say, you look at this and you go, no, 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 I don't want this. I hate this. Take me back to where I was. Then all you need to do is go window, workspaces, window, workspaces, and then you can go to reset to save layout. And I'll take you back to the beginning. Now, you might go, well, great. I actually want to create my own workspace. You might want to customize it. You might go, oh, I want that there, that there, that there. I'm just completely messing this up. That there. You go, great. This is amazing. I love this layer. I want to save this until the day I retire from using the software. You go Window, Workspaces, Window, Workspaces, and then you'll click on Save as New Workspace. You'll click on that and you'll go, my amazing new workspace. Just like that. Whoops. There we go. Can't spell. Enter. So now I've saved that specific layout. So if I have a friend or someone using my software, but they like it different to this, then I can just revert back to my layout when I've got my laptop back, for example. So in my case, I've got my own workspace up here, Brad's awesome workspace. If I click on this, you'll see exactly how I have my layout. That's how I like my layout, right? And everyone's different. There's no right or wrong way. You just have it the way you want it. I like to have like my color stuff up here and central graphics, and this is how I like it. Yeah, so what you can do, you can play around with this in your own time. We're going to go straight to a real project and play with a real project in the next lesson.